Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm Chantele Francis, your host here. Up top, I have with me Miss Michelle Nash. Say hello, Michelle.
Hello.
And we have a newcomer to the podcast today. We have Tanya. Say hello, Tanya.
Hi.
Hi. So Reality Realness is all about reality television shows and all the gossip that goes along with it. So if this is your first time here, make sure that you subscribe right down below. So Tanya, this is your first time here. What do you like about the challenge? Because we're talking about the challenge today, and we went way back. We went back to The Duel, season 13, from like, I think to 2006, somewhere a long time ago. Like, what made you want to come and talk about the challenge?
Yeah. I think it was kind of a full circle moment for me because I was thinking about it today, and I'm pretty sure The Duel was the first season of the challenge that I ever watched back then, because for people who aren't Canadian that are watching or listening to this, we didn't have MTV here for a very long time. So I think it was around that time that it came out. And since then I was completely obsessed. And then I went back, watched as much as I could at that time of previous seasons, and was like watching The Real World religiously then. So I think it was Key West. That was my first season of that too. So like watching this again now has really brought me back to being like 16 at the time that it was out and just being obsessed with it and loving it. So like one of my favorite reality shows, period, and still is. So
I totally agree. It is the best reality show. And I think, like, you might have a different reasoning behind it, but I think it's because everybody has such a history with all the characters. We've all kind of grown up with them. We've seen them on the Real World. We see them on Road Rules. Then we see them in the challenge. And, like, it's been, at least from The Duel, it's been, like, what, how many years? Like, 15 years is a long time to have just knowing who these people are. So what reasons do you find for yourself, Tanya, that you love the challenge? You as well?
It's like the most unique format that we have in terms of the concept that these people are returning time and time again. Like even with other shows that we watch, like Survivor, Big Brother, Drag Race, any of these things, like you might see a person come back 1 or 2 times over the course of that show, but the challenge is really built on these personalities that just have come back forever. Like someone like a Johnny Bananas, who we see here to now, has been in my life for 15 years, which is insane. Like you don't have that kind of personal connection with a lot of other reality shows where it's just, I look forward to seeing who's going to be there because I feel like I know them and like I've grown up with them.
That was always our favorite part. Like back when me and her used to watch it in the university and stuff, it's like, who's going to be on the next challenge? Let's find out in advance. Like this dynamic, that dynamic, like what's the premise going to be? Like this duel, it's the first time they have an every man for themselves challenge. And even like, as you said, like it's Bananas' first season. It says like John. I was like, I'm deceased right now.
And that's like the perfect way to start, because that's the beginning of the episode was Johnny Bananas. And I'm like, oh my God, he looks so young. His name is actually not Johnny Bananas. It's Johnny or John, which is also really weird. His voice is a little bit higher. It was just so crazy that, you know, right now I don't see the challenge without Johnny Bananas, and this is his inception into it. And it's pretty far in, like 13 seasons went by before he was a part of the challenge.
Yeah, so, like a newbie.
He was a newbie, and they're like, let's throw in Johnny Bananas.
Like he's scheming.
Right? And he's like hiding behind the corner and like not really knowing how to ingratiate himself. I'm just like, wow, like he definitely has grown up within the challenge. I was so happy to see him. I don't know, he was so young. He was cuter back then. I don't know if it's just because he was young looking, but I don't know, did you guys find him cuter?
Yeah, he definitely looked better than he does now. Yeah, he's more in shape now, but he had a bit more of a look to him back then.
Would you have dated Johnny Bananas back in the day?
No, I've never liked him. I've honestly never liked him. He's always been an asshole to me. So not like to me personally, but like, I can only like one asshole, and that is Wes.
And you get a little bit of Wes this episode too.
Oh, I overconfident as always. Like,
and he looks like a little baby face as well, which I was loving just seeing everybody in their youth, because when you grow up with people, they don't look like they're older, but when you see it like side by side, like I just watched them last week looking like adults, and like they just look these baby face like Wes and Bananas. I think it's adorable. Do you guys remember how Johnny got the nickname Bananas? Was it from his outside of the challenge world, or was it from Key West? I was trying to remember that.
It wasn't from Key West. I think he was still just himself. I want to say around, I don't know if I'm right about this, but I'm pretty sure like some point afterwards, maybe it's like 2 or 3 seasons in, there's a whole nickname thing happening where he calls Paula
Walnuts. But wasn't that Key West?
Johnny Bananas thing. I don't know when it became the brand for him.
It was the island?
I don't remember, but
the island, because everyone was pretty crazy. That was when Paula started to go over the edge, right? Yeah. He got so screwed over. So,
and then maybe he was saying like that's why we named her Paula Walnuts. Was they were tormenting her already in Key West, if I'm not mistaken, and that's where Paula Walnuts came. And then I was like, when did Bananas be Bananas? Like I'm still, well, maybe we'll find out this season. Like who knows? I don't remember this at all.
Somewhere along the way, he leaned into it and then just like branded his entire identity around it.
I mean, take it. Like he has like a clothing line, and he's probably making tons of money from his Bananas branded fashion line. Sure. So use what you've got.
This fashion.
Fashion line. One thing I wrote down is I love this cast so much. So who else was there? Like Svetlana was there.
Beth, you've got Tina, who she only lasts 2 episodes, as we know, is in the preview. And then we've got, of course, Anissa, like
CT.
And like just his swagger of like when they're all walking in the house and he walks in last with his leather jacket. He finds his double bed beside all the women. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Like he's so just like CT, man. Like he was the biggest heartthrob in the universe, and like I can't wait to watch the season and see his love story begin.
Oh my god, I just got goosebumps because I just remembered how this goes down. I love this episode, and like as much as like I don't fully remember, like oh my god, I forgot about that person, but watching it, I was like, I started to be reminded of what it felt like watching it when I was, I don't know, 15 years ago. That's so long ago. Yeah. And I was just really happy to be doing it. I was like, I feel like I'm walking down memory lane. You know, it was fun. So yeah, I remember this cruise like pretty well. And what I loved about the whole episode was that it just was so basic. It's just so basic.
To the point, in 20 minutes, we got an intro of the people. We got their personalities. We got a challenge, and we got a vote, and we got it was like boom, 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 boom. Like, great.
We didn't need, I know TJ loves them, but like no explosions, no trying to be Mission Impossible 3, like no CrossFit American Ninja Warrior coming in to climb a wall. Like, no, it's just like basic people doing difficult-ish tasks for money. Like, and in a hot environment with attractive individuals. It's perfect. They had the formula right. I think they're losing the formula.
You can see like how different it is. The thing that struck me most is like there's no Under Armour, there's no like sponsorship or SponCon. It's just
except for the Frontier Airlines or whatever.
We can bring back the like winning a prize for winning the challenge thing. I think that's actually really fun and gives people a reason. I don't know if you remember this from some of the previous ones, but I think part of the thing now is sometimes people throw daily competitions because it doesn't matter if they win them or not. But when they used to do like team bank accounts or prizes, I feel like it was better because it incentivized them to still try, even if they weren't trying to win. People wouldn't throw things in the same way as they do now. And I kind of miss that energy.
100%. We've been talking about that pretty much all season. Like it was the Red Skull twist for season 35 was a little bit different, obviously, but bringing back those challenges to make everything a little bit more competitive would heighten it a little bit. Michelle, what do you think comparatively, like seeing, you know, the daily challenges meaning something? And actually, one thing I did love, actually, well, you can say it's probably the same thing that you love, but I love that they got to pick the freaking order. Right? Like, you know, the person that won, and then they had to do a schoolyard pick, and then you see alliances go down.
That's what it is every time, and it gets so dramatic if, like, this, like, DM picks this person instead of Evan, or this person picks this person. Like, it gets intense. Like, I remember, like, and that's why I love the format of the duel. It's probably one of my favorite formats, because people still get left out. Like, you still need alliances, but the person who's at the bottom gets to pick who they go against. And that's such a play of power. Not that Tyler uses it properly in this episode.
Lord have mercy.
That would never swing now. Like, you took the only person on your side, oh, this is what they want anyway. No, you're obviously just too scared to go against any of these other dudes, and you can't go against Big Easy because he won. Like,
so silly.
I was so upset. Sorry, go ahead.
I just said that was like such a bad strategic play. Like, literally, why? It made no sense for him to choose John in this context.
Well, didn't John say, like, oh, that was the best move for him to make? Like, didn't he side with that?
Well, I think he agreed because he was like, he doesn't want to have to go against, he's more comfortable going against me than one of the other people, because it's pretty intimidating, guys. Like, I mean, I guess in this group you feel like Nehemiah's intimidating kind of vibe, but like, I think that, like, they were so new, right? And Tyler, I forgot, like, he was considered a beast. Like, this is one of the reasons that him and Bananas ended up being rivals or whatever, right? So, like, yeah.
It was I thought it was just really, because they talked a lot about, like, oh, it was more strategic and stuff like that. Like, oh, people are strategizing, people are doing this, people are doing that. But I thought that, like, if you know that, like, you come in as a newbie, you got to keep your newbie numbers together. You can never go against your own in the very beginning, or you're doomed. You're just going to be picked off. You're always going to be last, and just, like, one by one, you're going to pick
yeah, because if he went against someone else and won, then him or Bananas could have won the next daily or whatever.
Exactly.
And be for one. Like, it's like, you don't know. Like, how can you predict?
If you were to take a chance of going home, take a chance that both of you and Bananas would be staying. You know what I mean? You might as well. I mean, I know you just probably didn't want to be embarrassed, but, like, I thought, I remember even at the time, I was like, this is a bad move. Why is he doing that? I remember being angry. Who said this? Oh, it was Evan. It's a sex palace for some serious reality hooking up. This would be up Fanta's alley.
Oh my God. I died at that. I also forgot how much I used to love Evan. Like,
I do still.
Tanya was a super, like, Kenny stan.
I love both of them, but yeah.
I loved Evan more. I don't know, because he's Canadian too, right?
Yeah, he's Canadian.
I mean, these days I see the error of my ways at that time. Like I said, I was also 16, so things were questionable. But the way that they were as personalities at that time, and then also could back it up, like, in competition, I was always, like, super into what they had to offer. I don't feel this way now anymore, but...
So you like Evan more now?
No, like, I have issues with both now. Just, like, even the comments, I'm sure we'll see as the season progresses, like, I have a much more clear view of the way they speak to women being very problematic, obviously, and the way they speak of women being very problematic. But at the time, I was just like, they're just, like, funny guys, like, doing this, and, like,
jocks. Cute jocks making money on a TV show. I mean, I guess, yeah, if I look at it with today's lens, like, oh, you could never get away with saying anything like that ever with, like, Twitter world. Yeah, right. But I'm just taking myself to back then, and it was okay back then to act in that fashion. It got a pass or whatever. And I don't know, they just look so young and cute. I can't help it. Just young and dumb.
Before their prime, even, too. Like, this would be their second season. So this is, like, even before, like, their super, super dominant.
Because this was right after, like, well, there was Fresh Meat, and that was Ben's first season. Yeah.
And wait, and Cara Maria was Fresh Meat 2, correct?
2, yeah.
Okay. Who else came out of Fresh Meat 1?
Big Easy. DM,
yeah.
Evelyn.
Mm-hmm.
They got some good people from that.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Svetlana? No, where was Svetlana? Was from Real World.
From Real World, yeah.
From Key West.
She's from Key West.
She was there too.
Yeah,
like I can't remember.
Paula, Johnny, Tyler. Yeah.
And like 4 other people we just don't remember. Probably.
That's why it doesn't make sense, like, not to go back, but that's why Tyler's move doesn't make sense at all, because they had 4 people from their season on this cast.
Absolutely. And the next week they're going to be safe. And so they have to save the girls in the next week too. So they need to have 2 people at least saving the girls to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
Even though they might just get picked to go in anyways, but like, I don't know. It was a bad move and I thought it was stupid. And it made me not like Tyler. I didn't like Tyler at that point.
I've never really liked Tyler, to be honest with you.
I couldn't remember why though. Now I do.
Also, like, yeah, he gets in the way of CT. So for me, that's always going to
go on. I don't remember these things, guys.
I was thinking, I jumped through the seasons, but in Rivals, like when him and Johnny are partners and they beat CT and Adam, and it's so sad because they just redemption storyline of their friendship and all this stuff. And at this point, CT had kept like he gets close and he doesn't win because something always goes wrong, or he punches someone or something.
Yeah, it's problematic CC.
Yeah, we talk about like the challenge itself was just like pull in the sand to a thing and dig out a key, like so simple as you said.
So simple.
And just like
heart
and just like who's gonna go for it and who's gonna work together and who's not, like.
And like even just having them try to do some strategy, like who was it that was going off on their own? Was it Beth that wouldn't join that side of the girls, obviously? And like, the fact that like they tried to go and to overtake it by like, moving over there and then going full force, like it didn't work for them. I don't think. I think it worked for the guys, or I can't remember which way it worked or didn't work. But there was still strategy in there. It still showed people's muscles, and
also like Robin freaked out when she won, and I'm like, girl, you really needed this trip, eh? Like, why are you freaking? Like she felt like she's so dramatic, Robin. Woo! She's a problematic character for sure, as we'll see later in an episode.
I don't even remember.
We'll get to it, but it's to come. But it's a fight she has with Anissa that's just like the worst.
It's like, it's when it's just like foggy behind here. I'm like, I almost remember, and then when I watch it, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, but it's just like, it's not full 3D right now. All these memories. I loved seeing baby CT still standing kind of like awkwardly, like Mr. BMX guy. Before he's like, what? You look like you're gonna say something.
No, I was just gonna say, oh yeah. And like TJ looks so young.
Mm-hmm.
TJ.
Yeah, TJ. Did I say CT?
Yeah, you said CT.
I meant TJ.
Oh, okay, yeah.
BMX guy, right?
Yeah. That's why I was like confused. Yeah, TJ looks great with his like just open button, like his button up is just like hanging, and like his look, like.
And like that was the first time he's meeting bananas too, and he has this like love affair with the bananas. We're seeing them, first time being introduced to each other as well.
Kind of nice to watch him have to be like humbled in a way and to be at the bottom. I'm like, don't forget this, bitch, because the way he, like, I understand, like, as a rookie, you're always supposed to get the shit into the stick, but like, he has such an elitism to him now when he plays, and it's like, you can be respectful still. You can still give everybody like,
I agree.
Not be
Go ahead.
Sorry. He would not be relevant at all if he wasn't involved in his alliance with Evan and Kenny, and the way that paved the way for them eventually leaving, and then Johnny being as dominant as he's been.
Yeah.
Like, it was the island, but post that, once they left, like in his first 2 seasons, he was not the star, and he was not the most athletic, and he did not win. And it was not until after they left that he fully like took over the franchise.
So do you think though, so then if per se that whole scandal didn't happen and Kenny and Evan weren't basically like exiled from we'll call it Deed from the challenge, you think that Bananas would just not have became who he was? Like, do you think that it was only because they were gone?
I think the question is like the hypothetical of if Kenny and Evan stayed in the challenge based on what we've seen of their athletic abilities, they would be equally as good, if not better, than Bananas at the challenge from the physical perspective, I think. Like, honestly, like they're both really, really naturally athletic and also like train and played sports and like owns like a gym, like all of this stuff. Like they're really fit guys. I think they could be better than Bananas and would have been just as good, if not better than him. So he would have had to beat them. I don't know if he would have been able to do that.
Shots fired.
Yeah, and also, like, technically speaking, because Kenny was on Rivals 1, he was partnered with West.
Yes.
And he got second place to Johnny and Tyler.
That's
and
true.
Evan was partnered with Nehemiah and got sent home early, and he got shit under the stick with a bad partner because Nehemiah was not like a strong partner. But like I feel like Johnny had a really good partner. Like Tyler is tall and strong. Like he's a good partner and he's smart too. So yeah. I think he got lucky in that regard, and I agree with you. Like one-on-one basis, Kenny was always one of the strongest ones.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting hypothetical conversation if it was like an individual final. It would be close though. It's not like they would blow him out of the water because Bananas is good. Like obviously he is good, but I'd be curious.
Would he be a millionaire right now? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know.
That's like a really interesting timeline. Like if they were still involved in the story, like I really wonder how things would have changed. Like, how would they be different right now? Would they be all explosions and bringing in people from the UK, or did that all happen because of this timeline that we're on, like the Johnny Bananas trajectory?
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting because at this time that, like, from the duel into I don't even know when it changed, the show was at risk of being canceled like every season. Like it was actually a question for the people that I would chat about it with online of like, oh, the ratings are so bad. Like, I don't think the show is going to get another season. And then somewhere along the line, suddenly everyone started watching the challenge and then they started using other shows to feed in to who got cast. But like, I don't know. I don't know what happened between those two times for them to change it up in the way that they did. Like, I'm actually still confused about.
Maybe they allowed other countries to watch it.
I think it's a combination of that, bringing in people from the UK. Like, if you think about it, Kyle has over 1 million followers on Instagram. That's more than Bananas. Like, some of the people in the UK are more popular there on those dating shows like Love Island and shit. So, like, bringing those people in brings such another fan base to the challenge. Plus, people from Are You the One? People love dating shows. That was a really popular show for a while. Bringing those people in, like, it really, I think, enhanced their spread. And then Big Brother people, too, because it's, like...
Well, I think that, you know, the reason why they had to step out is that they didn't have people wanting to watch The Real World anymore.
Yeah.
So they didn't have that being the funnel, like the fuel to like to populate the next season, or like just to bring in some new blood and new energy. And so, yes, I understand like how they had to step out, and like definitely going UK wise, like all of them get so famous. Like I watch Love Island as well, and the winners of Love Island, they have like 3 million. You watch it too?
Yeah, I love Love Island.
It's so good. We're just in a little aside here. Sorry, go ahead.
You're actually like huge celebrities in the UK. Like,
yeah,
like so popular. So
3 million followers. That like just like that's a lot of followers, and they just get endorsement deals for Pretty Little Things and like Fashion Nova, and like they just like it's honestly, if they're on Love Island and they are a fan favorite, they're going to at least have 1 million followers at least. At least.
So that's what Kyle is from, right?
He's from X on the Beach and Geordie Shore. Maybe he's not X on the Beach. He's definitely Geordie Shore, which is like the UK version of Jersey Shore. He might have been on X on the Beach. I can't remember. But I believe Joss was on X on the Beach. Ashley was on X on the Beach. And they were both surrounded around Kaylee, who was on Big Brother. And I don't know if it was Big Brother or Celebrity Big Brother UK. Can't remember which one, but she got removed from that show for threatening somebody and like nearly getting into a physical fight. I think it was regular Big Brother, but yeah, like so they've been on these shows though over there that are wildly popular. Like their Big Brother, I know it got canceled last season. It might be being brought back. I'm not sure, but like it's a hugely popular show, and so I understand with Viacom coming in. I think that that's also one of the reasons why with that merger, they were allowed to start bringing in people from MTV. So that merger apparently went through completely in December of 2019. I don't know how long these negotiations were happening, so that's probably why they started filtering them in earlier. But remember, we're just always like, why are they bringing all these people, CABS and Cross Thing and MTV, and like, what's happening here? And it's, yeah, because of that merger with Viacom. So I think that we're getting all those MTV people, and all this mixing and matching is because of mergers. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much I like it now, though. I think I'm like, I don't know who I want to pull from. Like, I want to go back to these people. No?
It's hard because it's just a different world now. I personally am like, fine with people from different shows. It's just about the people themselves. Like, I love the introduction of people from Survivor, but it has to be particular people from Survivor. It can't just be anyone. A lot of people won't work. Jay, perfect choice, you know? There's a couple people I'd be cool with, but like, I don't want Wendell on the challenge. Like, go away. You know what I mean? And then like Big Brother, I mean, yeah, you're getting dramatic people. It's a good choice. I see the logic there. It's the same style of people.
What, do you want to hear something really exciting, though? Or, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. It's in probably my dream world, but I was watching the feeds last night, and Janelle was talking with Bailey about the challenge, and just like, being like, so what is it like? Like,
we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
And she's like, just kind of explaining, like, so what did you, she's like, oh, really? Okay. Like, going on and just like talking about the challenge. I'm like, does Janelle want to go on the challenge? Like, I would let that happen for sure. Stan.
I like other people on the challenge. I know it might be a more controversial opinion on Reality Realness, because by listening, I know that you don't necessarily agree, but like, I think they're so used to strategy in this really interesting way that I love seeing them in the context of the challenge, because they bring something interesting to the mix that I'm like, they lived in a house with people, like they've isolated with people from time, like that's their bread and butter. So I love when they come into the challenge, because they just mix it up in a really interesting way, and they bring a strategic element that's different and more exciting than what some of the challengers do, I think.
Yeah, they're a little less open. Like, there's some good challengers, you know, there's Wes, there's people who do sneaky things, but a lot of challengers are way more upfront about what they're doing and way more about that, and they're not as sneaky. And so the Big Brother people come in and they're a little bit nicer to everyone, and they have better social, well, not always, but a lot of them have.
Josh, not exactly.
Yeah, Josh. I mean, but like, even still, it's like they're a little bit more aware of that. And it's true, they're used to like being isolated for 90 days. But what they're not used to is the aggression and the competitiveness of the challenge. Like, there's a certain element of it that they might not be as ready for, or some of them are more ready than others, and some of them kind of go off the deep end, like Polly, you know?
I think, like, it's not like that I'm against people from Big Brother coming on it. It's the people that they're choosing. And I think that that's my whole, like, problem. Like, I was never a fan of Cody. I was never a fan of Josh. Bailey was okay. Swaggy, okay. Who else? Natalie, I'm sorry, Natalie, but I find her really, really annoying. I just also watched her on a Sequester mini a couple days ago, and like, I was like, oh, it wasn't just because you're on the challenge. Like, there's something about you that I don't get along with, like how she strategizes and what she says, and I just don't jive with her. And so
I find her a little bit false.
Yeah, but she goes on about how she's so real. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just.
But the fact that they've gotten Big Brother winners on the challenge is kind of interesting. Like, if you've won Survivor, like, why are you going to go on the challenge? Like,
they're thirsty.
But Big Brother people are just like,
thirst.
Yeah.
Thirsty.
And they're just like, I'm going to move to LA and like just be a reality star. Like,
I'm 24 years old. I just made $500,000 to live in a house for 90 days. Sure, I'll go on the challenge. Like, of course you're going to go on the challenge. Like, I was dancing on bars, chugging bottles of champagne while he's making $1 million on the challenge. Like, I would choose the challenge if I had the option at 24.
It's interesting because some of them I think are actually maybe better suited to the challenge than others. Like Bessie, for example, is like probably made for the challenge and not for Big Brother. And like actually found his
Big Brother
doing the challenge because he's like a super athletic, like huge guy, and like feeds his competition like nature in a better way. Whereas like Big Brother, he's not great for that. Like this is better for him. Whereas
I think I would maybe rather these characters in the format of like the duel, you know what I mean, like in these type of challenges that are just a little bit more basic. I think that I would enjoy seeing them in that environment more. I remember when I first started watching, when it became the challenge, I was always team road rules. Like I thought that people that were in from the real world were just like, oh, they suck, they're wimpy, they can't handle it. And like I was always team real world because I think that they survived through a more challenging season of their show. And so I do appreciate the grit, but there's something about, for me, the disconnect between the grit and like the new format of like wanting a ninja warrior between like the people from Big, I don't know. Just
they don't need to have Ninja Natalie back. Like that didn't need to be a thing, doesn't need to continue to be a thing, can take her away. Like we do not need her. No, we don't need her.
And they also don't need the $1 million bounty. You know what I mean? Like this is only for $300,000 here, and people are stoked to get a plane ticket. Like, it might be to entice these million follower people from the UK to make them want to play, but I feel like people would still come on the show. So why do you guys think maybe that they have such a big, like they think that they need such a big, prize mount? Michelle?
I think that once they did it for Dirty 30, they had to continue it being that amount, because once you've raised it to that, it's like kind of shitty to lower it again, I think. So I think once they did it that one time, they're like, okay, well, we got to keep it up.
It's like more than Survivor, not more than Survivor, but the same as Survivor, more than Big Brother. It's like Big Brother needs to amp their prize money up, I think, for sure.
Yeah, Big Brother, I mean, yeah, but Big Brother, like, you don't really have to, like, you just have to endure. You just have to endure being around people, and it's a lot of strategy that I would be terrible at, but, like, it's strenuous in a different way. So, yeah, I agree. It could be $1 million, like, but nothing, Survivor's the hardest. We've talked, like, Survivor is the hardest one.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Survivor, I'm playing a weekend live version of Survivor, leaving tomorrow at 8 a.m. to go to Tortra Lakes to like sleep in a tent. It's to sleep in a tent. Like
at least in a tent.
Well, Nick is my partner, so Nick invited me to play, and so like we had to have like 3 days worth of water, like we have like barely any food, like
oh my god,
like sleeping bags under the stars, like yeah. That
sounds amazing, but like terrifying.
It's pretty terrifying. I'm one of the guys that are putting it on. He picked up my stuff for me, so like I didn't have to, because his wife is driving me and Nick up, so I didn't want to carry all my stuff, so he came by and grabbed it, and he was talking to me about it because he's played our version of Big Brother, and so like we get to torture you this weekend. So we're gonna be tortured. I'm like, am I going to have to swim out to a buoy and like dive down and like dig for a treasure chest? He's like, no, we're not gonna actually kill you. It's gonna be more Big Brother style competitions, but we are living in tents outside for the next 3 days. So
that'll be fun.
I'm so nervous. There is money though. Winner gets $500. So I mean, I put in $100 to play, but winner gets $500. It's not bad.
That's
basically how much the winner of Big Brother wins. So.
$500, like, but chump change. Now, one thing that I missed about this era of the challenge was the T-Mobile, like the sound, like, and like, oh, gotta, and on my T-Mobile side flip or whatever it's called, he didn't say it this time, but like I heard the name, like the sound of the ringtone. I was so excited. Why did they get rid of that?
I don't know. I miss like all of the little quirks of this era. It was like so corny. It's like watching people at summer camp or something. Like the stakes are so high, but they're so low. Like it's incredible. Like I miss that energy. I miss the challenges being less about being a beast and more kind of just about being random. Like, sort of. I think that's why the prize is more now, because you have to like basically run a marathon and like almost die. Whereas then you could just like CT had to do challenges where he like literally spun in a chair and then had to eat cookies and drink milk. Like, not doing it anymore. Like, it's not a thing.
I love that challenge.
Me too.
You know what? We should send like a petition around and be like, let's take these people that are playing right now, whatever, the new season 36, and just put them through a very basic version of the challenge.
They should call it Back to Basics. They should
Back to
like,
the basics.
Like, I don't know.
How fun would it be just to see, like, it's so budget, like, on their, like, camcorders. Like, it's so simple that, like, I just love seeing the simplicity of it. And I would love to see what these high-tech people, like, come back and see what it was really like to play. I think they would have had fun. It's kind of like when we do our backyard stuff. Like, it's, you know, it's kind of that production-wise, you know what I mean? Difference. And it's still really fun. And it gets back to, like, the strategy of it, and just like anybody can win this, and like, you know, you don't have to be some big super champion. Exactly. Anybody
That's like
can win.
The legend of so many like OG challengers, like someone like a Katie Doyle, where it's like, this girl is not actually good at any physical comps yet. Like, she won so many random eliminations, and it was so epic because it didn't have to do with who was physically the best. I think it's a different show now. So like, we watch it for the athleticism, and we watch it to be like, oh my God, that's so impressive. I can't believe this person did that. But back then, you didn't know who was going to win an elimination.
Remember when Katie, she did an elimination and they had to stay under a tank of water, and she just come up, and the other person got up and they had to tap on the thing to like let her up, because she was like, I'm going to die down here. I don't care. Like, literally, like, the stakes were so high for her.
Right? I don't remember that moment, but I remember Katie. Sorry, go ahead.
I loved that element of the earlier challenges. I think now my biggest issue is that I feel like maybe the past season, Total Madness, I was like, what's going on with these dailies, and like, why are they not good? And like, why are they not even difficult at all? Like, that was a feeling that I had. So I definitely like either want it to be silly or I want it to be athletic, but just like decide what it's going to be. These kind of things I don't like.
Do you guys watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette at all?
Yes.
Yes, good. And so it's kind of like the difference between Bachelor in Paradise and like The Bachelorette. Like The Bachelorette or Bachelor, whatever, it's like, it's serious to a certain extent. But like, you know, you can tell by just like the opening scenes of The Bachelor in Paradise, it's just a little bit like poking fun at itself a little bit. And that might have been why we all fell in love with the challenge too, is that everybody was kind of doing silly things for money that like challenged you in weird little ways, sometimes really strenuous, sometimes eating cookies and spitting on a chair, like different ways that we enjoyed watching people just do these random things. And so I would love for them to go back to the basics. That would like make my 2020 amazing. Big E. So when did he get that nickname? Was he always Big E or Big Easy? I can't remember.
I guess.
The origin of Big Easy, but
yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I've heard him saying like it's not easy being Big Easy. Or am I making that up?
No, he probably did say that. I feel always Big Easy. I don't know where that was. They were just like, he's a big guy and his name's Eric, so he's Big Easy, and then he just leaned into that nickname. Like, I don't really know.
I'm gonna have to like do the origin story for all these people. Even with the challenge too, like the actual challenge, like basically like we could have probably made that at home. It's like they had like some ropes tied to each other's like harnessed around them, and they just, you know, went in their own direction to dig out a key. Like, so easy, so basic. Shows heart still. It does everything that it needs to do in a challenge, and somebody win and you got a prize, and it's just the perfect format. Anything else happen this episode? Like, actually, like, no. Because they didn't even finish the episode. And we were okay with it, probably.
Yeah, because it was quick. It went boom, 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 boom. And you could just binge it all, you know?
But I did like that there was no chance to deliberate, and like I know that's where they had their little like, you know, they didn't have to be able to go home and sorry, deliberating was part of when they're doing the order of picking. They didn't have to deliberate and strategize when they're doing the schoolyard pick. I liked that they didn't, like, they just go right into it, like good. The whole episode was just quick, and it was like a nice little bite, and they just did it right. I mean, I could do a double episode for sure and just have like a completed, you know, beginning, middle, and end. But at 20 minutes, like, I was like, I'm down. Down with the challenge. The duel.
No
happen anything?
We do need to shout out the intros that used to happen for
Oh Lord, so good.
and how corny and wonderful they are. I really miss that. I loved it. I loved seeing that, like all of these faces just like walking. Beautiful.
Oh, so iconic.
It's so grainy, and like those jeans are just like these baggy like denim jeans that are just like on the bottom is like frayed on the bottom. It's just so bad fashion.
That look, like I wanted my velvet bottoms to be frayed like that, like by my shoes. Like I wanted the rips and holes. Like
I thought these girls looked so cool. I was like, oh my god, like their fashion, like these tube tops, these tank tops, like these flared jeans, boot cut. I was like, this is style. Like this is what's legit.
It's so good. In the little outro, who was Big Easy doing the curls with?
Kina.
What's her story again?
She's a road ruler.
Yeah, she's a road ruler. Didn't she have a thing with Derek?
Friends, I think. She had a thing with someone, but I can't remember.
But she's definitely a road ruler. Like she was an original. She didn't do that many seasons of the challenge, I don't think.
I mean, like, am I gonna go back and watch Road Rules? Like, then I would be taken back to like my childhood. Like, that would be like the beginning of all of this for me.
I seen most of the Road Rules because I couldn't find them even back then. Like, I found the ones I could, like some Battle of the Sexes stuff, but like, I couldn't find all of them. You know, I was a database for everything. Like, this is what we need.
Well, like, get like an Android box and you can kind of find everything. But I remember, I don't even know how I knew to do these things, but do you remember ICQ?
Yeah.
So I used to go into different ICQ chat rooms, and I'd find like some sort of key that would unlock, like for Big Brother, they would unlock the feeds, or like I would lock all the different MTV channels, and then like I would feed it to my TV, so I'd watch it from my computer onto my TV. Like I don't know I don't know if I can even figure out how to do this now, but like that's what I used to do back then. So I watched all like what happened with MTV stuff? Maybe my dad sent it to me because he lived in the States at the time. I don't remember how I got them all then, but I definitely know that I started going on ICQ chat groups and like figuring out how to get episodes and live feeds. So I don't know. We need to figure it out. Maybe we should start that. Maybe we should like start a database of the challenge stuff.
Yeah.
We can figure that out.
Literally, I would just pay for it at this point. Like, I'm down. Just tell me where, and you can take my monthly fee. Like, I'll pay.
Unlimited access to every season.
Don't make my heart flutter like this.
I'll pay. I pay for crate. Like, I'll pay.
Well, my brother said though that MTV.ca had them up until last year, so maybe they removed them.
They did.
Okay. Right now it's from season 19. It's only a very
yeah.
Like,
but they used to have them. They used to have them some time, but I guess they changed it.
Was they taking up bandwidth or some other terminology that I don't know? Like, who cares? Just have them all available. What's the big deal, right? I know. Just one last thing is that they had to like pick cards from TJ's hand. It's so budget. Like, I can. What did that even mean? Like, okay, let's go. It's a challenge.
And it was the same games that would get repeated if you picked the same thing.
That's what I love about it, is then after a while you start to know what the games are. Like there's only 5, I think. maybe. I don't know how many
Yeah,
cards.
4 or 5 games. There's the I Can, which is this episode that's gonna come. Of like
one is like a pole wrestle situation.
One's a pole wrestle, one's a thing with the keys and the wooden thing and the little thing.
Yeah.
The thing and the little thing.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, look at that thing and the little thing. So perfect description. Thank you. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I've been loving just like watching this. There's not that much that went on. I do love having this little discussion about The Duel episode 13. Anything else you want to talk about it? I'm thinking we should do next time 2 episodes.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a double next time.
A double might be worth it because it's, you know, we'll have a whole, hopefully we'd have to do another single and then get into doing a whole one.
Yeah, maybe let's do one more single and then we'll do it to double.
Right, just because then have a full episode. I'm loving going back down memory lane. It makes me feel young again. When does Johnny Bananas start doing his little toasts? Like,
oh, I don't.
Is that after the Evan and Kenny time?
Later.
I mean, like, I think at that time they were all sort of part of that vibe. Maybe he led the like cheers, but yeah.
Oh, I mean, I think I need to watch every single episode again. I love it. I do. But okay, that's all that we have for you guys today. Make sure you subscribe right down, ring that bell, and make sure we have our new episodes and being notified for them every single time we upload one. That made 0 sense, but that's okay. You can find me online at ShanFriendFriend or at Reality Realness with 3 S's. Michelle, where can people find you?
At Mish Nash with 3 H's.
And look at that. And where can we find you online, Tanya?
Well, yeah, I should have added 3 to mine, but it's at Tanya Philly, TanyAFili.
Maybe. That might be. I. Other than that, we'll see you guys soon. Ciao.